chapter for Recording Academy. I'm one of the judges. The first part of this panel today is going to be a discussion with producers. We have 4 fantastic producers here today to discuss what they do, why they do. And I would like to ask each of these gentlemen to introduce themselves. I want to talk a little bit about what you've worked on, some people reference introduction. Great. Start with
What's going on, everybody?
Hi.
How you feeling? All right? Good. You know, we all each other's crowd right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to rap or nothing like that, but, you know, just introduce myself. My name is Chris Marcel. I am a music producer as well as education service provider for the East Coast. We write curriculums for schools throughout DC, Maryland, Virginia, New York City, upstate New York. We implement innovative curriculums into high schools and middle schools, infusing math, music, science, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of programs and people don't really know how to, they're trying to figure out a way to get the kids interested back to reading and to math. So what we do is kind of bridge that gap by creating curriculum for these schools. Currently we're in Bidimensional Academy. It's like a youth detention center, DC. We're also upstate New York and Rochester. We are in DC, as well as 2 sites in Baltimore, Maryland. On the other note, I kind of all started as a music producer. My background really is, started in hip hop, but then kind of ventured off into jazz and everything else. So I've done like plays and jazz music for like Joyce Scott, and then until working with 50 Cent and G Unit, you know. So my production is pretty widespread. I'm obsessed with like genres, and we also just done like work for Dr. America. We do like a lot of like TV, music work for like brands and stuff. So yeah, pretty much, you know, music, mix engineer, produce, and I'll cut it down, wait for the questions.
I'm Maurice of Sticky Face Music. My background is a little bit of everything. I've done hip hop, R&B, house, some gospel, spoken word. I have a number of groups that I've dealt with on a regional basis and worldwide basis. Some are in this room. And so actually some of the producers that are here, some of the artists that are here that I've worked with, and I'm also a mentor and artist development director.
Hello, everybody. I'm Teddy Douglas. I'm one of the founding members of a production company here in Baltimore called Basement Wolves Productions. We make dance music, and we've been doing that for about 25 years. And our biggest production that some of you guys might know is probably Crystal Waters. We had a big record called Gypsy Woman back in 1991 or something. So we met her just like this, like you guys. We met her in DC. The original members, myself, Tom Davis, and Jay Steinauer. We met her at a conference in DC. She was just a singer trying to get signed, you know. And she was doing, like, if you guys know who Swing Out Sister is, or maybe Captain Internail, maybe some of you might not know who that is, but like she was doing like jazz, like stuff, piano bar stuff. It wasn't really dance music at all. I come from a background of DJ. I've been a DJ here in Baltimore for forever, since about 1982. Actually, the guy who owns this club is Wayne Davis, is my best friend. He used to DJ at a club called Odell's, which I used to DJ back in the 80s. And my background is strictly DJ. I come from the dance. I used to go to clubs in the late 70s, early 80s, Paradise Garage, and all those clubs in New York City, and that was my inspiration. So we met Crystal Waters at a conference like this, and she didn't know anything about dance music. So we forced her actually to go in the studio, because she was such a great songwriter, to just infuse the two things together. We came up with Gypsy Woman, which is been sampled numerous amount of times. I mean, I'm probably still relevant because of T.I. sampled it in 2006 with Why You Wanna, and Mary Mary just sampled it in 2010 for Walking. And it goes on and on and on. I think Black Eyed Peas are getting ready to use it again, and it's just a thing that just never. And today I still DJ around the world, and I still make records. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I said all that to say is that you guys are here for a reason, and if you have something that you want to do, it's your dream, whatever. You never know. Like we met her, and she gave us a tape. And she's an international pop star.
Well, I'm very humbled in front of all these other people. I started off as a DJ. My DJ name is Cubic. Most people just call me PJ. I've been DJing for nearly 15 years. I came from the electronic music background, drum and bass. It's my style. And I've been producing for about 8 years. Yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Some of the notable achievements I've had within producing, just having some of my own tracks picked up for quite a big drum and bass, compilation that really helped me, start to travel around the world, seeing people like Shorty, who inspired me actually on a video called Scratch.
Yes, sir.
You seen that? You seen that?
Yes, sir.
So, it's cool to have come along through producing and DJing. It's definitely a DJ first.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the first question I want to throw out to you guys, I talked a little bit with Maurice last night. We did a show together, so we had a chance to converse. I'd like to hear your definition of what a producer is, and we'll just go down the line. Because that's such a...
This makes sense.
Yeah.
This makes sense. A line, right? All right. All right, so since we're gonna go in the right order here, the definition of a producer,
For you, yes sir.
I would say a mixture between an audio psychologist and a doctor. That's why they call Puffy a producer, even though he don't push any buttons, because he's psychological in his approach. So I think that's, in short term, that's really what it is to me, at least. That's how I treat it.
For me, a producer, I'm gonna go to the religious realm. To me, a producer is what a choir director is for a choir. So that choir director directs the choir. It tells the choir what they want them to do. It directs the band, tells them what it wants to do, and brings it all together for one medium. To me, a producer is that in the studio environment. And also, since we're on this, I think that the definition of a producer is kind of getting a little jaded with people that, it's no shade, but people that do, like, create just beats. And they just say, okay, well, I made this beat, so now I'm a producer. To me, that's not the definition of a producer. A producer has to have hands-on, know a little bit about every part of the job that happens in the studio. So you have to be a little bit of an engineer, be a little bit of a musician, know what people would like to hear, what's going to sell, all of those different aspects, and just to take it all in as under one hat and be able to know when to plug it in. That's my method.
Yes sir.
Okay, for me, pretty much like what these guys said, of course. And just to add to that, just to imagine what like a movie producer does, like Spike Lee or whatever. I think the producer's job is to get everybody, the song, musicians, the drums, all of that together, and then you make a pretty picture from that. But you have to get all those elements together, like my man said. Some people just bring the drum, the beat to it. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, because that's only moving my feet. What about my heart and my head? You haven't done anything for these two things. So I think you have to bring all of those elements together.
Great, a producer is definitely bringing together many elements. It's not really much marketing we have to do, as you said. You've done a great
We're
job.
gonna start with him next time, right?
Sure. So let's go down let's start with the next question. How much control, as do you like to have working with the artist versus letting the artist control you as a producer? So you know, everybody works differently. How do you work with your
I
artist?
think, as a producer, I have a vision when I go into the studio of what I want, and I think achieving that sometimes I can be quite anal about it, because when I have a vision, I'm very stuck to it. So I like to have a little bit of control, again, we're like a puppeteer, putting all those pieces together. And if you are a producer, this is knowing the audio side, the psychological side, you are kind of working to all this. Yeah, that's my
So
style.
would you say like you like to kind of guide the artist towards your vision?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. If I have a vision, why don't I know what I'm doing? If I'm not being creative and just asking a session artist or something like that, well, definitely. That's just one.
What the question was again? The question is, as a producer, how much control do you like to have on developing that vision for the artist versus allowing the artist to tell you what their vision is and developing it against what they have in mind?
That's a fine line. Sometimes I've often been in situations where we clashed and the session is over. But I like to work with the artist because I think as a producer, it's not my job to force my. You come to me for a reason, for my sound. So I think that it's my job to just bring out the best of you, and we collaborate. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of piggyback on what I'm trying to say. I'm an advocate for independent artists, and my personal idea is that if the independent artist knows and can kind of articulate what they want and can understand the business a little bit, then the machine as a whole will work better. My position as a producer, I like to see what your vision is, to hear what it is that you're really trying to say, and then kind of direct you the right way, the best way, the most polished way that we can make that sound. And in doing so, making sure that I don't undermine my artistry as well as a producer, to make sure that if you're saying, well, I think it should be a cowbell right here, and I'm like, no, we don't use those anymore. You know, you really should try this idea. When we get to a place like that, then I'll use my position as a producer to say, well, this is what I'm going to strongly suggest to you. If you do not go with this decision, you're risking X, Y, and Z. So I like to give the artist the option, but and still like make sure that they understand what it is that they're trying to do and how it's going to get to that next place.
What they say. No. All right, so no, really though. Being a producer, really, approaching the studio is different. It really depends what color the artist is. Not race, but that's stupid. Metaphorically speaking, color, like who they are as a person, right? Like you might be a blue and a pink guy, whatever. You gotta figure out the color of that person. See, a lot of times people don't know who the hell they are yet. And those are the people, that's when your job, that's when you really need to be a full-blown producer. Because that guy has no idea who he is. So that's when you have the advantage to be able to be like, okay, do it my way. Yeah, that's when it's like, okay, you don't know who you are? I know who you are. There you go. You know what I'm saying? So it's this audio social security number of like identity. You know what I'm saying? That you give them to help them identify with that lost, who that lost person is. But then you have the people that are more found and more confident who they are, those are dickheads. So you gotta kind of like, really like, you know what I'm saying? Like they already know who they are. They're like, I'm this guy, whatever. All right, cool. And then, you know, I'll play the humble role and you like this kick drum here? Or you want me to switch it out? I really don't like, I know my kick drum is right, but that's probably my ego. So what you have to do is drop the ego with those guys tremendously and really let them feel themselves and let them feel like they're the star for that moment. You know what I mean? And then when they feel like they need you, you fill it in, and that makes those guys feel good. So it's really, like I said, it's a mind game. You know what I mean?
I think some of it bleeds into branding as well, because as Chris said, you know, if you don't know who you are, then you know sometimes the producer has to kind of go into a place where they say, well, if you don't know who you are, then branding-wise, this is who I see. This is what I see you as. And then bleeding into that a little bit, you got to make sure that what you're producing is in line with that brand. That make sense?
So this is a two-part question regarding trends. As a producer, how important is it for you to stay on top of the current trends of software, hardware advancements versus working with what you're comfortable with that has defined your sound? And the second part of that question, in regards to trend, how important is it for you as a producer to stay on top of the current musical trends? So artist comes to you and says, hey, I like what this artist is doing, I want to sound like that, versus you saying, no, I want to do it this way. Kind of what we just talked about, but more or less, how important is it for you to stay on top of what's current out there? Do you pay attention to the current trends, or are you a type of producer that sticks with what you know, and you kind of isolate yourself from what's out there so you're not influenced by what's out there to maintain your sound? But the first part is regarding the software, hardware. So how important?
How important is it to stay up with trending technology?
Yes.
Again, you know, we spoke about this earlier.
Yeah.
To me, it's really depends on if you already made it to where you're trying to go, or if you haven't. Creative. Perfect example. Mobb Deep is not going to rap on the track. Why? Because they're already rich and famous off of what they love to do. So, if you're not rich and famous, your mama's still working, I think it's important to try to adjust to the climate of the music. Try to at least, you know, because you could be the guy that's like, man, fuck that track, put them 808s, you know what I mean? Boom bap. And you still ain't paid your bills all boom bap yet, bro? Like, it's probably, you might want to try to, you know, diversify, like, a little bit. So, but, you know, if you made it, you're doing well off of, like, your boom bap, and you're doing good, and your family's taken care of, then boom bap, have fun. Like, but if you ain't jamming yet, you're not taking care of yourself, and you stuck way there, it's time for you to like get this VST headshot and get that, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. You know, just that's how I gauge it. When I realized, man, my cell phone bill leaked. I need to get this 808 kit. I update my sounds due to like this what I need, you know what I'm saying, financially right now. You know, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense? I sound crazy?
Do you pay attention to current trends in music, other artists, or do you kind of filter that out so you can kind of keep your focus on your sound?
Well, the thing about it is I always do my sound. The goal is to one day have somebody that sounds great with my sound.
Right.
I had a guy, he's doing 20 years in the Fed right now. So now it's like shit, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta find the next guy, you know what I'm saying? And find the next girl or whoever it might be that sounds great with your sound. Sometimes that person don't always sound right. You gotta just cater to whatever that person does, you know? Like, you know, Mo came to me to mix a record. And I don't know why he thought about me to mix this record, but I'm like, okay, I'll mix this record. Now, that sound is not particularly, quote unquote, my sound, but I had to adjust for what he was asking for. You know what I mean? So,
The first part was the gear.
Yeah, for me, my gear, I like, when I find something that I like and I can work with it and I know how to exploit it, I stick with it. I don't go too far from it. I will learn other technologies and I'll learn how to work it, but if I'm really comfortable with something, I know that I can move quickly with it, so that's what I'll end up doing. I'll stick with what I know. For those that are on the technical side, you know, some things like Reason and Studio One and dealing with rolling products, things like that, that I'm very familiar with, I'll stick with it, but it doesn't mean that I don't know how to work Pro Tools or I don't know how to work Cubase. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that I work quick and best in these environments. So I do have to stay fresh on what the new technologies are, just in case I'm called in to a studio that has those technologies and that's what I'm paid to do. Hey, well, we only have Pro Tools. Okay, well, fine. All right, let's go. And you know, I'm doing my job in that environment. If I don't know Pro Tools, then I'm failing as a producer because, you know, I have to know all of these technologies. As far as my sound kind of goes, I'm an advocate for live musicians, so I like to find the blend with electronic and live. So that's my sound. I just make sure that I blend those as much as I possibly can. For me, that's because when you go to the performance side of things, you're gonna need somebody to play. You're gonna eventually need somebody to play, and who better to ask to play than the people that played on your record? Establish a relationship, keep moving.
Second part was how, on top of current trends, you stay paying attention to what is currently hot in terms of what's selling, to allow that to influence what you're doing now, or do you kind of stay, keep that filtered out? Like, is that important to you to know what is current?
For me, the way that I work, when whatever is current is only important for those clients that want what's current. That's what it is for me. If you say, well, I want to sound like this artist and that artist, and they get played on the radio, and that's the path that you want to follow, then again, that's my job to know what that sound is. I don't rely on that sound to create what I create. I feel like I need to be versed in different methods, different genres, and keep my eyes open onto everything that's going on. The only time I go to what's trending is when somebody says, I want to sound like what's trending. Otherwise, I'm there for the artist to say, I want to make you sound like you. Now, and kind of piggyback on what Chris is saying, like financially, like if you're broke and you're making your sound, then that's a reality that I'm going to present to you and say, okay, well, you know, you already know that this trend is making money, but if you stick with your sound, you gotta work your sound in order to get paid off of it. So, you know, I'll make sure that that is understood. And also just to make, I follow what's trending also for another way, just to be able to pull from it. So like you might have an organic sound, and I know that something is trending might fit well, and it might not make your record sound trendy, but if that element makes it sound well, then I like to stay on top of it just so I can incorporate that.
As far as here is concerned, I'm like when I find something that I like, pretty much stick with it. I think that it doesn't matter. I mean, I've had a big SSL run where it was about, $100,000 worth of gear in it, and also nowadays, people making records on like laptops and a few little pieces of notebook gear. I like to work with engineers as well, so I let them deal with the technology part, and I can deal with just making the production part. And because every year, they come up with a new program here, every 6 months, whatever. Keep up with that,
Right.
And as far as the trends, yeah, I definitely think it's important to keep up with what's going on with the trends.
I'll keep it short and simple. Hardware. I came when I first started. A lot of the music was starting to go towards software and stuff like that, and so I wanted to know as much as I can. Now that I've been producing long enough, I'm definitely in the mode of I like the few select plugins that I know well, and I know it really well. But it's good to know what else other people do when you hear something else on the track. Like, I kind of can't do anything like that. What's he doing? What's he using there to do that particular effect or something?
Yeah.
I guess in terms of music, I've always tried to not listen to trends personally. I've done drum and bass, and drum and bass definitely ain't a trend follower. But within that, it's nice to listen to other people who are trying to be fresh and original yourself.
So I think at this point, I'd like to open it up to questions from everyone that's here.
I guess this is for any of y'all. What rituals y'all practice? Like, I guess when you sit down, when you have the idea in your head, I mean, y'all go for the melody first, bass line, drums. I mean, and the second part is any tips to get out of like a production slump. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the slump part is real. I'm actually just probably about 3 or 4 weeks out of a 13-month hiatus. Actually, it's my first break since I've been producing since I was 97, 98. Like not making beats and then started producing 2000, 2002. But that slump is real. Like you get hit with it sometimes. And you're scared. And it's it starts to it really brings out a fear in you that like maybe I'm not built for this age, for this era. Maybe what I love to do won't be respected. And you let all of that fuck with your conscience, and then you just end up not doing it for a while. That's what happened to me at least. I know a couple other guys have been. As far as like the process, production, I don't think I have no particular discipline or nothing that I follow, but I definitely say that melody inspires me. Yeah.
For me, when I don't have many songs. I just don't. And the reason for that is because when I'm creating, I pull from the artist. So as long as I have an artist, I don't have a song.
And that's true. Just back up, I was gone. I left Baltimore for a year too. Right. So I left my home where all the best artists in the world are, in my opinion. I've been everywhere. People don't really understand like how highly, like creatively, like established like these artists here are. But you know, so I was spoiled with like brilliance. When I left, I didn't have it. So people come in like, yeah, we'll work with you. I just cut it down. So the fact that he stayed, he was able to keep working with artists. You know, my slump came because I moved back to New York. Right. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody looks like it but don't sound like it. Right. Right.
And it's you said slump, and there was a second part you said.
Like you got like a certain ritual.
Yes. My ritual, I'm a feelings kind of guy, emotional kind of guy when it comes to music. So I like to have the conversation with the artist to find out what do you want this song to be. Like what are you feeling? What do you want the listener to get from it? You know, what emotionally, what is your vision for it? Once we had that conversation, and while we're having that conversation, in my head, the producer wheel is turning. Okay, what instruments do I need to use? What tempo should this be? Who should I call to play whatever live? What DAW do I want to use in this particular circumstance? You know, things like that play a role for me. I feel like I'm more of an artist producer where my concern is what does this feel like? Is this going to pull an emotion out of somebody that hears it? If it doesn't pull an emotion to me, I can't work with it.
Real quick, I'm inspired by, like you said, melodies. Like sometimes I'm inspired by like beat, and then that'll inspire vocals. And then I'll say who can sing this, and then that, like you said, that'll like a snowball of who to get to play on it and all that. But sometimes it's the song, sometimes it's the rhythm, and my ritual sometimes, when I get into a slump, I like to do it. I just like to stop for a second. Just don't do anything for just wait for the inspiration to happen. Some people can't afford to do that, but sometimes I just wait.
That's the real
But you know, that's how I do it. Instead of drink or something helps too.
There's not much more I can really lend to that. I mean, everybody's inspired by different things. I come from, again, you know, a different genre, and sometimes I'll find a bass line really inspiring. Sometimes it's a beat. I love Dr. Dre. If you listen to any of his music, he's all about the hook. And the hook's always going to carry you through any song. So, it's different. And slump, I'm taking a break. So, for me, I'm currently in a break, actually. It's been really nice. And writing other music for me, actually, I've been staying away from drum and bass lately, writing a lot of techno and house. And now I have ideas that I want to take back. So that's inspired me. So, it's good for everybody.
Any other questions?
For those who don't know, my name is Pedro. I'm an artist from DC. I've been doing music for a while. I started out as a conga player in a go-go band back when I was 14 and went to setting up sound for band and became a producer for 2 studios, learned from analog and pro tools, so I know the routine from doing hard hands-on to sitting and pushing buttons. At the same time, I write and produce for myself. And I know I gave a lot of CDs out, and it's not the best quality because sometimes sometimes you don't have enough time to get everything out. But I hope you enjoyed the sound. And my question is, what would be the best tool right now to get heard or to help market your sound, your music, as an artist, independent artist?
Generally, cliche, bullshit answer that, right? Go to the internet. But yeah, no, I think this is the perfect time to hit the ground.